Hello everyone, it's me Tiffany. Welcome to my channel where I share all things pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood related. I am a certified birth and postpartum doula, so that means that I support women and their family on their journey from conception to postpartum. If you have not had a chance yet, please check out my website at www.sacredarrival.com, where you can check out my doula services, my childbirth education courses, and you can check out my blogs. It's really cold outside. It is currently 28 degrees here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm not happy about that because I do not like cold weather at all. But it's that time of year, and you know, it is what it is. So I just want to get on here and talk about, the differences between birthing centers and hospitals. I have had the pleasure of attending births at both places, and they both have their pros and they both have their cons with anything. I'm not going to say which one I would prefer over the other because I don't want to seem like I'm biased. So I'm just like, oh, you need to give birth here, and if you don't, you suck. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But with the hospital, there is a more medicalized setup, if you will. Say, for instance, they have the capacity to see women that are pregnant that are having, low risk pregnancies and also high risk pregnancies. So say, for instance, you do decide to go to a hospital, you want to give birth there just because you feel more comfortable. You want to make sure that you have doctors on staff if anything was to go wrong, or you want to, have nurses around you, or, you just want to have more, I guess, medical options. That would be a reason for you to give, decide to give birth at a hospital. Also, they have the capabilities of being able to give you an epidural, to give you, narcotics and things like that to help with any pain or discomfort that you may be experiencing. If you end up having to have a C-section or any kind of like emergency like surgery, you're already there, you're already at the hospital. You do have the option to give birth naturally at a hospital as well. I've done it twice myself, of giving birth, naturally at a hospital. They have, it's less of a homey feel. I mean, it's a hospital. You know what to expect when you go to a hospital. I mean, you can bring things from your home that can kind of help in a sense. You can, bring your own gown. You can bring your own house shoes. You can bring your own, radio. I know some people whose boyfriends have brought their own PlayStations and hooked them up and played the game while, mom was in labor. So, I mean, there are things that you can do to kind of make it a little more comfortable, but it is still a medical setting. You have to remember that. You have nurses that are on staff. You have your OBGYNs that are on staff. There are midwives that also are able to, help their patients give birth at the hospital also. So it's just more of a medical setting. They have everything there that is, needed. Like I said, if you're low risk or if you're high risk, like if you have any kind of pre-existing conditions, if you have any kind of blood pressure issues, diabetes and things like that, at the hospital, you're there. If you need access to, anything emergent, you're already there. At the birthing center, however, it's more of a homey feel. You have your bed set up. You have your birthing tub. And there are some hospitals that will allow you to get in a tub or in the shower, but it's still a hospital setting. At the birthing center, however, it's more of you feel more like you're at home in a sense. You have like it's like a bedroom type of setup, and you have midwives that are there. You have, your doula can be there, and your doula can be there at the hospital with you as well. But your doula's there. There's no limit to how, not that I've known, there's no limits to like how many people can be in that birthing space. Meanwhile, at a hospital, I think they only allow like maybe 3 to 4 people to be in the room with you. I think like you can have like the husband or boyfriend or whatever. You have the mother and you have like a doula, or I think that's about the amount of people that they'll allow. But in the birthing space, they allow you to have, if you have your support group that you want to be there with you, you're able to, have that. You can give birth in the tub. You have more options as far as like positioning, as far as being able to give birth. If you want to squat, if you want to stand, if you want to, be in a tub, or however you want to lay down, they give you more options. They can play music for you, which you can listen to music in the hospital, but in the birthing center, they have the music kind of sometimes coming out like through your speakers and things like that. It's more of a chill, relaxed environment. You have your midwives that are there that are going to assist in, you know, helping with the birth and everything. It gives you the sense of like a home birth, but also with a birthing center, they have to be within so many miles of the hospital in case something was to happen. You have to be transported to the hospital. And I know they get some people, like some people are just like, oh, you know, what if something does happen if I'm not able to get to the hospital? And it kind of, you know, makes people a little nervous, so they prefer to go to a hospital. But you do have some people who are just like, oh no, you know, I really want the whole natural, you know, thing. And that's another thing. If you feel like you're gonna want to have an epidural, or, you know, you're gonna want some type of intervention as far as like narcotics and things like that during labor, birthing center is not where you want to be, because it's a place for natural birth, if that's really what, you know, you want to do. Like I said, the birthing center, they do have access to things like Pitocin. They have access to start IVs if they need to. So they do have, you know, things that are there as far as like medical equipment goes, but it's not on the level that it would be at the hospital. And again, birthing centers are not too far from hospitals, and I think that's like in the clause, like you have to be within so many miles of a hospital in case something does happen. They're able to transport you and you're able to be seen. But from my understanding, when it comes to birth centers, the maternal mortality rate is like little to non-existent, which speaks volumes, because in the hospitals you have all that equipment and you're doing all this, and yet still moms are dying. That's neither here nor there. I ain't trying to throw shade or nothing on, you know, I'm just putting it out there. That says something. That really does. I really need to go back and look at the numbers, because I was reading something earlier, and yeah, yeah, there's that. But that is really interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that for real. But yeah, so again, you have options, and then there also, you can give birth at home, and it's a whole nother can of worms. I've never attended a home birth. I've not had the option, or, you know, the pleasure of doing that. I've always been either in a hospital or at a birthing center. And again, you know, I feel like in a birthing center, you are really looked after and cared for more so than you would be in a hospital, because in a hospital, it can be so many women on the floor that are in there, that are in labor, that are postpartum, that, you know, and nurses are assigned to so many different patients. They don't really have the time to dedicate to just one patient for a specific amount of time. They're in and out. The doctors are in and out. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, at the birthing center, your midwife, she's there, your doula is there. And what your doula is there at the hospital, I'm saying, as far as like the staff within itself, you know, at a hospital, they don't have the time to really dedicate and spend with the patient like they would if they were at a birthing center. You know, it's different. It's different. But, you know, I've had some really good experiences at the birth centers. I've had some really good experiences at hospitals, and I've had some not so good experiences at hospitals. So, there's that also. So yeah, I just want to get on here and talk about, you know, what the differences are, what you can kind of expect between, you know, a birthing center and a hospital. And again, it is completely up to you. Always, you can talk to your doula, you can talk to, you know, your providers, you can do your own research and kind of see, you know, if you're not high risk, if you're not at risk of anything, you know, potentially happening when giving birth, see, you know, what your options are. You know, would I be more comfortable at a birthing center? Yes, no. Would I be more comfortable at a hospital? Yes, no. And just kind of weigh it out. Another thing you might want to think about is whether or not your insurance is going to cover. Insurances are going to cover hospitals. Sometimes insurances don't cover birth centers. So, you know, I know that here in Memphis, Medicaid does cover both. So, you know, but you can just look into that and kind of go from there and see, okay, I'm getting prepared. I want my birth to look like this. Will a hospital setting be good for me, or will a birthing center be good for me? Those are just kind of things that you need to look into to get prepared, okay? So I just want to get on here and share really quickly, you know, what the differences are, what you can expect from each one, and I will catch you on the next one.